Hi everyone, good afternoon. Let us continue today's session. In the previous class, we have completed with the people development and environment. In today's class, we will be moving ahead for the research aptitude. Okay. So this is one of the very important chapter while you are aiming for your JRF as well. Because you know, right, in the JRF, you will be taking up a research courses, the PhD courses. And this particular chapter unit helps us to understand what are the process in this research we can take up with. Now, first, let us examine the topics what we are going to study in this particular chapter. Okay. So, when it comes to the basic topics under this particular chapter, we will be coming across with, we'll understand the concept of research. And there is a one topic which is the characteristics of research. There was a question on this characteristics in the previous year questions. Okay. So, this is the one part we'll be going ahead elaborately. We'll understand the research in nutshell. We'll look into the characteristics because it's a very important topic, and we'll look in the major concept which is of types of research and methods of research. Okay, under types we will understand all different types available in the research process over here, and when it comes to methods over here we will understand with regard to in which kind of research which type is applied and which is a better way to get the final output on. That's what we'll be understanding in the methods of research. Along with that, we'll be also studying with regard to a steps in research, a very important area. When it comes to this particular area, we'll understand every single step, how the research will go ahead with. Okay, and based on the steps also, there was a question in the previous year paper. And the next thing we will be having with regard to a thesis writing. The ultimate idea of doing the research is this, right? Either giving a report or writing a thesis over here. Under thesis, we have a different forms of thesis writing. We do learn that, and we also have a different styles of thesis writing. We learn those basic things. Along with that, we'll also look in with regard to the in a normal thesis only. This is a previous year question, which is a last step in the thesis. That means in your thesis, what will be the last part? Usually, it is the appendices, right? So where we will be including all the any kind of reference material. It's not a conclusion, a reference material, and also the question is what we have been used in our complete research process. So that's what actually will be there. This was actually a question of previous year. And we'll also learn it with regard to how ICT is implemented in this research process, application of ICT in the research process. Finally, the small topic, which is the research ethics. This is also one of the topic we will be studying in detail. So these are all the concepts we'll be going ahead elaborately for right now. So let me start with what do you mean by this research. See, it basically takes up two different words over here. So what are these two different words it is going to take? One is re and the other is search. So re in the sense again search in the sense to find something, right? So already everything is existed over here. What generally we are going to do, we are going to think in, or we are going to look the particular concept from the new perspective, and with this new perspective we will also bring in the elaborate idea on the existing topic or the supportive idea for the existing topic. That's what generally will be brought up from this research complete processes over here. So now let us go ahead and try to look in with regard to the characteristics of research over here. Important topic, guys. There was a question on this in a previous year. Okay, just on a characteristic, there was a like they given in normal elaborate basis. The question was asked over here. So look into it. One sec. Yeah. So the first and foremost characteristic over here is with regard to the objectivity. See, research is always done with the objectivity concept. What is this objectivity concept over here? That means there will be no inclination. Inclination in the sense there is a scientific rule, what we generally follow in the research. There is no objective aspect of any individual over here. It's entirely done on the completely on the basis of without any kind of influences of the either individual or the any other persons over here, and entirely the complete conduct, the complete quality of the research should be up to the mark. Is it clear? That's what actually a objectivity is. Next
Like
one, it should be
non-biased.
non-biased. It's not actually a non-biased. The outcome, whatever you are going to get, it should be not in a kind of any kind of influential manner. Okay. Influential manner here in the sense, what I meant by in the sense, like you have to critically examine, like you have to, yeah, in one sense, you should avoid the bias itself. Completely according to the results, what it is going to get, you have to explore them. Okay. Next one is reliability. So when it comes to reliability, that means research is a consistent process. Okay. And the examination, whatever you are going to do, it should be very much verifiable every time. Verifiable, I meant by over here, if any results you are going to get, each time when you verify it, you should get the same results over here. This is what reliability is. Okay. And it should undertake, or you, when you're taking any population and when you're doing a research over here, it should give you same context results. Okay. Before moving ahead, what I'm going to say for population and other thing, I'll give you a simple idea with regard to it. See, population is a one, the complete aspects whatever I have taken for the research. Okay, that is called as population. And from the population, I won't take the entire population for my research. I'll take the samples out of it. So this is very important. I'll discuss when it comes to a sample. Usually we have a types of sample. I think almost in most of the year paper, we had a question on this types of sample. I'll come across with this later. Okay. So we'll go ahead with this first. The second characteristic is reliability. And the third one is the validity. So validity in research, basically the accuracy of all procedures or research instruments or test, anything, whatever you're going to do over here. And in this, usually any estimation, whatever you are going to be made, you have to be given with the proper GOG, whatever the material you can give. That means anything, whatever I'm saying, there should be a valid proof for that. Even on this research, whenever you are giving the results, any results of research when you give, there should be a valid proof what you can give for it. Okay. So when it comes to a valid proof, it should be a relation between the variables, what you can express with, and this relationship may be an internal relation and external relationship of variable. Okay, I'm coming across with one more concept called as variable. Even this is also one of the concept very elaborately we'll learn. Let me make you understand in simple term what is variable. I'll just give you two variables for right now. One is the dependent variable and the other is the independent variable. For example, if I take an example of COVID vaccination, okay, COVID vaccination, vaccine is the independent variable. It entirely, this entirely on, it depends on our body, right? How it is going to react. Okay, so individual are the dependent variable. Accordingly, it is going to react in a different manner. When you take a vaccine, all of you people have been experienced different aspects over here, a severe hand pain or headache or anything, or a fever, something like that you have been experienced with. So our body is, oh wait, have I this given different oppositely over here? Our body is an independent variable. Sorry. Our body, that is individual body, is the independent variable. Yes, and it entirely, the vaccine is the dependent variable. The vaccine depends on individuals over here. Whenever I take a vaccine, I might have not affected with anything, but one more I have been affected with a severe head pain or whatever, a different scenarios over here. So this is how. Now, anytime while I'm doing a research, I am going to check the validity between these variables. Okay, not only these two variables we do have other variables apart from these two. We do have extraneous variables. We have many other. We learn on them. But when it comes to a validity, we will be checking how we are going to establish the relationship between this dependent and independent variable. Okay, so the next thing is with regard to the accuracy. So accuracy is likewise how much the research procedure or the research instrument and the device you are going to identify with one another over here. That means when you are going to explore the different results, so you should take the most ideal way. Most ideal way in the sense there is a one better way, one accurate way of doing a research over here. So that methodology should be adopted. See, every kind of research will be not done every time. When it comes to any medical field research, we call it as the experimental research. When it comes to any evacuation, we call it as the historical research. So there is an accurate method we have to apply for every different kinds of research what we are going to do over here. Okay, next is the credibility. Next characteristic is the credibility. So credibility is nothing but you have to take the credible data over here. Okay, and you also need to use the best techniques for the exploration along with the better and optimal utilization of the information with less cost. So this is what the credibility over here. The major aspect you need to concentrate over here is to trade off between primary and secondary data. Okay, there is a one more concept I came across with here, that is data. Data is one of the important fuel for the complete research over here. And now when it comes to data, usually I will be getting this from two sources. One is the primary source and the other is the secondary source. Guys, I'm just introducing you into the topics. All of this, what I have written on the other side of the page here, we will be learning this as elaborate topics over here. Just I'm introducing for you this one. So when it comes to primary data, it is the researcher will directly collect from the respondent or the sample, what we can say. And this is very much required for our research. And we can also use the secondary data. It is already published source, either from the any statistical sources or from any kind of magazines, newspaper, anything and everything for the matter, or it could be a statements of companies as well. So this is what a secondary source over here. So we should be best enough knowledge to have a trade-off between these two, because whenever you are doing a research, you should not overburden yourself with the data over here, and you should also bring out or you should check out the proper data what you need to rely on. Only then you will be, that means you need to rely on the credible information to get out proper results of your research. That's what it is meant by. And the next thing, there should be a generalization. It should be always, it is always done while you're doing a research over here. Almost right. When it comes to the vaccine only, it has been tested with the group of sample and it has been generalized. Okay. Specifically for every individual body, they have not given any particular vaccine. It is generalized data. Sorry, it is generalized result what we will be always depending on. And even the research outcome, whatever is going to be taken up, it is always applied for the bigger population, because the sample whatever I am going to take, the sample or whatever I am going to take, they are the phase of the population. They are the phase of the population. Very simple example, when you go to buy a bag of rice, obviously you will take a handful of rice and you will check. So the entire bag of rice will be having the same character what you take a sample over here, right? That's the reason whatever the sample is going to give a result on, it can be completely generalized on the whole population over here. Okay. And the next thing is with regard to the systematic one. See, this research will go in a very step-by-step manner. Okay. And when you want to explore a powerful and deliberate results over here, you have to deal with proper examination of the work in a proper progressive order over here. Okay. Here you are going to test the results of your population and sample over a different period of time. Therefore, you need to follow proper steps. That steps we also learn over here. Look, have given, right? So the system, what are the systematic formulas, systematic way you need to go ahead with the scientific method is everything will be taken up over here. Okay. So there is also empirical research which is required over here. Empirical research in the sense it is based on the experience, that is a real life experience, and also the direct experience, and also the observation by the researcher over here. It is always suggested that while you are doing a research, it has to be entirely on your own experience over here. At least in any of the parts, you have to be genuinely involved, and every single information legitimately inside your premises has to be considered over here. Okay, that's what this empirical research specifies on. In simple, it should be a completely through my examination. I need to give out results on. I need to explore the results on. Okay. Apart from that, I should keep the controlled factors here. It's very important because when it comes to the various factors over here, various factors may affect the outcome over here. Therefore, you have to keep all the, if not all, if you have to keep the dependent variables to how much soever the control you can make for it. Okay, how much soever the possible control you can make for it. Independent variable control factor. Independent variable really you can't control so much. Okay, but you can control the dependent variables over here, right? Vaccination you can control, but you cannot control the individual immune power or a bodily power over here, right? You can only control the vaccine results or vaccine outcome what you can give for over here, right? So controlled factors are very much important. For example, when you test without any controlled factor, every single time of test you are going to get different results over here. That is the reason controlling of variables is very much important. The next thing is the cyclical process. Research is a repetitive process. See, it's not that okay, we have been completely explored in any particular area. It's not that. So it's, there is a no limit. There is a no limit for any particular research over here. Every time when you do a research on, obviously you will be looking in for the different way of looking into it, and this is always explored in all the types of research. Okay.
So you are researching in cyclic process with some goal, like yes, I want to get something. Until you achieve that, you'll be researching it.
See, one, okay, for example, once you achieve this, for you can take the technologies itself. Yes, we have achieved so much of technology. Is there any stop over there? No, it will be again continuous. Okay, not only that one. It is a goal oriented. Every individual, while they are doing a research, they will be having some goal, and this outcome will be acting as a base for the further research. That's it. Okay. So next thing, every time, whenever you are going to give any kind of a research, it should be completely a logical research over here. Okay. And it should be not on any inferences you can make over here. It is entirely based on the standard sensible thinking, that is a logical results. Okay. And the conclusion of you should be completely logical. It is not that, okay, it's just imaginary result what I can just take up. It's not like that. So these are the major characteristics of the research over here. Okay. So apart from that, when it comes to this one, this particular research, I just given a validity over here. When it comes to validity, there are different types of validity they will check in. The first and foremost is the internal validity. That means with higher internal validity, the researcher will get proper relation between independent and independent variable, higher validity. Okay, internal validity I'm saying. And you also have the external validity as well. With this external validity, here you can study all the factors. You can study all the factors in a controlled aspect. That is the external validity you can come across with. There is also content validity. So this indicates, this basically measures all the aspects of the constructing a material one on the other. That means when I get the different contents, I can build up on them. Okay. And when I build on them, obviously I will be getting more and more ideologies I can apply in the complete process of research over here. Okay. And you will be also having with regard to criterion validity. This criterion validity basically measures, or it gives me the direction, what is the way I'm going ahead, and is it a proper way these directions are taking with me. That's what I will be getting to know over here. So these are all the major uh, validity I will be checking in. Okay, so remember all this, it's important. Okay,
Can you please tell me again, content validity is what?
see, when it comes to content over here, you are going to yeah, data only. So it is going to build one on it. That means I'll get one content, I'll get the complete idea on it. It acts as a base. It acts as a base for a further move on. I can move on further by keeping that as a base. This is what a content, and there will be no stop over here. You can construct on it. Okay, it is not just a part of it. It is just complete aspect of it. Yes, a kind of foundation. Done with this, right? Any doubt with this? No doubt with this. Okay, so let me go ahead with this sample clearly first. Okay, before moving ahead, I will give you the brief idea on the hypothesis. So hypothesis is a area, or it is the thing what researcher actually thinks on their research topic. What researcher idea on the topic. For example, if I'm a researcher, in my mind, I will be having some conclusion. Okay. So that conclusion is actually, we call it as the hypothesis. Okay. Now, usually we will be having a null hypothesis and also alternative hypothesis. So now, what do you mean by null hypothesis? It is same what I said for a hypothesis. That means what researcher thinks on their research topic. Alternative is a one. Yes, obviously you should keep some alternative for that, right? For example, I think that, okay, this vaccine will combat with Zika virus. Okay. So this is 90%. So this is what the researcher is going to think on the topic, okay, on the vaccine. Say for example, there is a experiment which is going on a Zika virus vaccine, and any particular researcher came across with this. They are going to think that, okay, this one is going to cure 90%, or this is having the capability of curing this Zika virus to the extent of 90% possibility. But you should keep alternative hypothesis. And alternative hypothesis could be anything. Okay, say for example, this vaccine is going to clear this with 100% capability, or with less than 50% capability, or anything. It will not cure at all. Okay. So my alternative hypothesis could be many. I can keep one or more alternative hypothesis, but my null hypothesis is always only one. Okay. And in this particular chapter, we will be looking in what are the different methods we use to test this hypothesis. Is it clear? How to create a hypothesis is also a major part we will be elaborately learning. Okay. Along with that, how to test it, also a thing we will be learning. Now, okay, you have been tested with your hypothesis. There is a result in front of you, but there will be a possible errors which is going to take up. Okay. There are two types of error which are called as type 1 error and type 2 error. So this is on the result I am saying. Okay, when it comes to type 1 error, you are going to reject the null hypothesis. Reject null hypothesis. I'll just write H naught. H naught is basically the acronym what we use for the null hypothesis. H1 is for alternative hypothesis. Whenever it is a type 1 error, you are going to reject the you are going to accept null hypothesis when it is false after testing a result, I'm saying. And type 2 error is a one, you are going to reject null hypothesis when it is actually true. So please do remember with this concept. This was a question of previous year. Okay. What is a type 1 error? In the type 1 error, my null hypothesis after testing, I have made all the tests. After testing, my null hypothesis is actually false. But I accepted it. Are you getting? I have selected that only. Even though that is false, I have just accepted it. Okay. But in type 2 error, even though my null hypothesis is true, but I have rejected it. Is it clear? So that is what the error in taking the results of hypothesis over here. Is it clear? Understood? Do remember this one. This was a previous year question over here. Okay. So now let me go ahead for the samples, which is a very important topic. Okay. So when I already given you the glimpse of the samples over here, when it comes to a sample, obviously it is the portion of the population which is extracted for the study. Okay. And while you're extracting this portion of population, you will be having different criterias. The researcher will lay down different criterias on the basis of what I am going to select a sample on over here. Okay. To support this, we usually have the types of sample. Okay. So when it comes to types of sample, it is divided into two broad categories. One is a random sample, random sampling, and non-random sampling. This is also called as probability sampling and non-probability sampling. Probability and non-probability sampling. So first and foremost, let's have a look into the types of random sampling over here. So when it comes to types of random sampling, the first and foremost type we have is simple random sampling. Simple random sampling, systematic sampling.
This is all under random sampling.
Yes. Probability sampling, stratified random sampling, and clustered sampling. So these are all the four major types what we are going to get in the random sampling over here. Now let us have a briefly look into all of this. First and foremost, say for example, I am doing the research on the height of children's. Okay. So when I am going to do this research on the height of children's, okay, I will be having a students of a particular class. Okay. I'll be having a students of a particular class. When it comes to a random sampling, okay, I'll just ask you, go and bring any 10 students out of the class. Okay. You just go to the class, randomly you will select a 10 students and you will just bring in. Okay. This is what completely a random sampling or the probability sampling over here. When it comes to non-random sampling, I already said the researcher will be having some pre-assumed judgment or pre-assumed standards. Based on this, the data will be collected right now. Now, I might ask you, go and bring 5 highest or the 5 highest and 5 least height student. Okay. I mentioned for you, therefore, every single person is not having an equal opportunity to get as the sample over here. When in the first case, every single individual in the class has an equal opportunity to get selected as a sample. Now, only the top 5 and least 5 is going to have an opportunity. None others is going to get opportunity over here. This is what a non-random. In this, we have a different types. So let's have a look into those different types right now. So first and foremost, when it comes to the simple random sampling over here, it's almost says the same characteristics what I said for the random sampling. So here every member in the population, this is a population, My whole class is a population. The entire class is a population. The entire population is going to have equal chances of getting selected as the opportunity. If 100 people are there, even all 100 people have an equal opportunity over here. Okay. And every single person is going to have the ability to come as the sample for the particular test. Okay. So you can just write it as every individual population has equal opportunity to get selected as the sample. Okay, that is what a simple random sampling says with regard to. Next one is with regard to systematic random sampling. It is also randomly taken, but it is systematically taken over here. What you generally do in the sense, to make slide easier, every member of the population is listed with the different numbers over here. Okay, instead of randomly taking up, you are going to just make a small groups over here. For example, when it comes to the systematic samples, random sampling over here, so what you are going to do, you are going to take the different numbers. You randomly select from starting from any point. Okay, you just randomly select. Okay, randomly only you are going to select, but what you are going to do, you are going to make use of some particular techniques of the database. You are going to cover it in the database. That's it. By covering it in the database, you are going to select the individuals over here. That's it. Is it clear? Understood, right? Yes. Next one is the stratified random sampling. The strata itself says it's a small groups. Okay. When it comes to a strata, you will make the population into small groups, and it is easy for you to take the sample out of that small groups over here. This
Systematic, we make small groups.
In systematic, we usually make not very small groups. Here we make very small groups. Okay. And usually in the stratified random sampling, while I'm making the groups over here, I will be having some identities, either for the gender or age or income bracket, job role, anything. Okay. In the stratified random sampling, I'm saying. Okay. In systematic random sampling, I'll be usually systematically arrange every single individual over here. That's it. Okay. In a simple random, I won't arrange anything. I'll just go to the class. I'll bring the students. And when it comes to systematic sample, I'm going to I'll give everyone the number and I'll make them to sit. And then I will call, come second number, fourth number, 10th number, something like that I'm going to call. I'll create a database in the systematic random sampling. And when it comes to stratified random sampling, I'll make them into a groups. Okay. For example, I will be making into the group on a different basis. Okay. For example, in the same class. Okay. I'll group into boys and girls. I'll group into boys and girls. Okay. And in the boys and girls, I'll again group into different age groups. Okay. Different age group category. Again, I'm going to divide. Even in the boys and even in the girls, I'll divide them according to their different age groups. And even in the age group, I can again have different divisions as well. Okay. So this is followed over here. When it comes to a stratified random sampling, you will divide into strata groups, then you will select. Semi one thing is, everyone has equal opportunity to get selected or not? Obviously, everyone has equal opportunity to get selected over here again. Right. I am making it to small groups, but out of the group, I'm just selecting. They have an opportunity. In entirely the random sampling, every single person gets the equal opportunity. In simple random, I won't do anything. In systematic, I'll create a database. In stratified, I'll make the groups. That's it. Is it clear? Understood, right? Yes. So next, when it comes to the cluster sampling over here, so in the cluster sampling, it involves the dividing the population into subgroup, but each subgroup will be having with a similar character as a whole or a sample over here. Okay. So let me make you understand clearly this one. So when it comes to this one, this particular cluster sampling, so here you are going to divide the complete data into the different people, okay, different clusters who comes from different areas or who comes from different background. And this groups consist of everybody as a similar character. Any group, whatever I have been made, this consists of the similar character as a whole over here. Okay, understood?
Yeah.
Yes. And now you randomly select the entire group. You will select one cluster. Is it clear? You will keep them into a cluster and you are going to just select one cluster over here. So this is what a cluster sampling. Okay. You will divide the population into subgroup and this subgroup have a similar character to hold the sample which is going to represent over here. And instead of sampling individual from each subgroup, you will randomly select one group. One group you are going to select. That's it. Entire one group you will select. That you will consider as the sample. Okay. And yeah, this is what with regard to the cluster sampling. I think understood, right? Any doubt? Any doubt with this? Now let us move ahead. Please do ask if there is any doubt up till here. Latashri, Dhruti, Bindushri, Pallavi. If there is any doubt, please do ask. If not, we'll move ahead for the non-probability or non-random sampling. Can we move ahead? Yeah. So now, as I already said over here for you, there will be always a sampling bias. Okay. It is based on the bias itself. That means the pre-assumed requirement, according to the requirement of the researcher, we are going to select the data over here. So in this, we have different types. The first type we have over here is with regard to the convenience sampling. Convenience sampling. Second one we have is with regard to voluntary response sampling. Third one we have with regard to purposive sampling. Purposive. Next one we have with regard to the snowball sampling. And we do have a quota sampling. Okay. So these are all the sampling what you have under the non-probability sampling over here. So let us have a look into every single aspect over here. First and foremost, when it comes to convenience sampling, see, this is simply includes the individual who can be more reliable, more accessible for the researcher over here. For example, I am doing a research on the investment idea of individual. Okay, when I need to know the investment idea of individual, throughout the world there are investors, right? But what I can do, I can take the data according to my convenience, which I can collect the data with my nearby areas, right? So therefore, everybody don't have an equal opportunity right now. The only opportunity who gets as to select as a sample, only the people who resides in and around me. That is the only whatever is a convenience for me, I'm going to consider on that. And it is very inexpensive one to collect the data and also to consider as a sample over here. And even this also gives to some extent a different result. For example, when it comes to the investment, if I'm going on checking with the word investment, really it is not be helpful because the investment pattern procedure only will be there according to the Indian scenarios or the nearby scenarios over here. It is going to be a quick data collection. It is going to be a quick result enumeration, but it is not very much generalized result which is going to give. Do remember, you can't generalize this. Okay, it is not that this sample is going to completely reflect the whole population or the topic what I just wanted to take for. Is it clear? It is not going to reflect entire ideology. That's it. Next one is voluntary response sampling. This voluntary response sampling is basically, it is also based on the accessibility only. Instead of researcher choosing with regard to the different participant, usually you're going to go ahead for the online survey, just an online survey. Okay, and the voluntary samples who voluntarily comes as a sample for you, or who voluntarily gives you the data, you just collect the data from them. Okay, and you're not going to involve, or you're not going to put more efforts to collect the data over here. Here you are going to send out the survey. For example, while you are doing the research as well of your PG projects or whatever, obviously, right, you'll just give the data in any online platform, or to the persons who you generally know, and you are going to collect the data from them, or you are going to take the answers for your questionnaires. So that's it. The voluntary response, you will go for online survey, or else you'll just give it for the required people, whatever you wanted over here. And but the people who responds are more likely to have a strong opinion about the individual, because when I give you the topic, that means when I give you the questionnaire, obviously you will be having more insight. There is a point, or there is a scenario you can go judgmental, right? Because as you know me, okay, there is a chances the complete data you might not give me. Is it clear? Chances are there. It's not that obviously it is going to happen. Chances are there. Okay, so you can't be sure that there is a proper opinion you are giving to me or not. Is it clear? That's it. That is what voluntary response. Next one is with regard to purposive sampling. This is also called as judgmental. There is a one more name, and if they give in this name, don't confuse with this judgmental sampling over here. See, it involves the researcher is going to use their expertise knowledge to select the samples over here. And over here, I am going to judge who I should take as a sample. I will judge. Is it clear? It is basically used in the quality research. I have not done this types of research, but I'll take ahead. When I take ahead, you will understand more broader idea on this. So that whenever I'm going to do a qualitative research, qualitative research, generally you can have a judgmental opinions of your. Okay, so the researcher wants to gain a detailed knowledge about a specific topic over here, rather than making any kind of inferences, statistical inferences. Even with a small population, the researcher want to get huge data. Okay, so for this, I'll be having a clear idea. Okay, if I ask this person is going to give me complete picture of the data what I actually require. So only on the basis of that, I'm going to ask my respondents, and I'm going to take them as the samples over here. And always make sure that whenever you are going to check out with this, there should be inclusions and exclusion criterias you have to follow under this, especially as it is on the complete bias. Okay, you should check who can give you the proper detailed idea on a particular data over here. Is it clear? Yes. And you can only take expertized opinion. You can't really take any individual who will be not having a much idea on that topic. That is what you can go ahead with this. Okay. Next one is the snowball research. So this types of research you will go whenever it is very hard to have access for data. Nowhere you will get this data. Okay, so for example, these are the matters, or these are the participants, or these are the samples who will be not really more not reliable, I can say, who not really you will get easily. Okay, so it's more and more you are going to get only with the detailed analysis of this. For example, if you, and the concept or the topic what will be there over here, it is also very much sensitive, and the data whatever you have collected from the individual, even that data is very much sensitive. For example, if you are collecting, that means if any person's research is on the research of any particular topic on the sex workers or the same-sex marriage, so if it is a case, so it is really hard to get access for this data, or any of the HIV affected people. Yes, so whenever you wanted to, yes, so you really can't have a complete access of this data. What you can do, for example, if I get one person who is as my respondent, This person will only give me the other person's details, okay, or other respondent details. And this is how I am going to make a chain link data. Is it clear? And this is going to become, you know, right, snowball. So when it is falling from upstairs, it will be smaller. As it falls down, it is going to become bigger, right? It is just like that. That's the reason this name came. As you go on ask individual people, you are going to, your data, that means your samples is going to become bigger, and the complete information what you are going to need, you do get that. Okay, so this is what with regard to a snowball sampling over here. And researcher, for example, anything for the matter, even if you want to research on the any kind of homeless people in your city, so you can't really get any away. You should go only for this particular area and you should take a research on. And do remember, the data is entirely sensitive, and utilization of this data also requires too much of restrictive aspects over here. Okay, so you should also utilize it in very proper way. The next one is with regard to quota sampling. So this is basically you are going to select on the predetermined numbers or the predetermined portion of the units. You will only prepare a quota over here. Okay, so while you are preparing a quota, you are going to divide the population into mutually exclusive characters. Okay, mutually exclusive character in the sense they are not related to, that means the character of each group is entirely different. After dividing into that, then you are going to take the samples from each set over here. This quota is almost related to this simple random sampling also, but there will be a pre-assumed idea of the researcher. That's the reason we are going to transfer it into the non-random sampling, which is the non-probability sampling. So let me repeat the thing, guys, whatever we have just studied till right now. So we discussed with regard to the different research characteristics, okay, and we came across with some of the new concepts over here, and we went on with the hypothesis. We just understood what actually it is. Hypothesis is the one what complete researcher idea on a given topic over here. And we have two types of hypothesis: null hypothesis and alternative hypothesis. Null hypothesis is the one what actually researcher is thinking. Alternative is the one because any one thing has to be proved at the end, right? Whatever I thought, either it must be correct or else the other of that should be correct over here. So to prove that only, I am going to create one null hypothesis, either one or more alternative hypothesis. So after the results, they in the selection or in the conclusion of the hypothesis, there might be error which is going to happen, which is a type 1 error, where I'm going to accept the null hypothesis when it is actually false, and type 2 error, I'm going to reject the null hypothesis when it is actually true. Is it clear? And we discussed with regard to the sample, a very important topic, very, very important topic. Okay. And under the sample, we have two types. One is a random and also non-random sampling. So random sampling is a one where you are going to, every single population is going to have an equal opportunity to get selected as a data. Non-random is a one you will be having pre-assumed bias, and on that you are going to select. Every single person in this will be not having the opportunity to get selected. Okay, and these are the different types under random sampling: simple random, systematic random, stratified, and also cluster. Under non-probability or a non-random, convenience, voluntary, purposive or judgmental, snowball, and quota sampling. I think up till here there is no doubt exist.
Quota sampling, if you could just.
Quota in the sense, see, I am going to put it into quotas. I will be having restrictive numbers. Okay. For example, you might have heard in the news for many times. So there is a quota given on the import of goods. So it is also like that only. I will be having a quota. Okay, I need to select the group of population or the sample only from here.
But you have
only to this much extent.
Like
yes, yes. Only to this much extent and only this much. That's what idea I'll be having over here. Yeah. So now let us move ahead into the One more important topic, there was a question even in previous year on this topic as well, which is of types of research. Important topic, guys. Almost you'll be having every year, because this is what the entire research is dependent on. Okay, on types and on methods, surely you'll be getting a questions on. Understand the characteristics of any research. Okay, while I'm explaining also, you just need to get to know what is the characteristics of that particular research over here. That's the main thing you need to understand. Okay, when it comes to method, where it is applied, understand that. Let us move ahead for this. So the first and foremost, we divide into different bases. Okay, so the first basis I'm taking over here is with regard to objectivity based. Okay, objective based research. When it comes to objective based research, usually you will get 5 major types in this. The first and foremost is the descriptive research. Second one is correlation research. Third one, explanatory research. Fourth one, exploratory research. And the last one, experimental research. Okay, so this is on the basis of objective. First, let me look into what is objective based research are. See, objective based research in the sense, I will be having set objective. Okay, after my research, this is what I am going to come across with the result as. Based on this, I'll do the research. Okay, so under this, the first and foremost, what we have is with regard to a descriptive research. Very important. On all this, we had a question. Okay, descriptive research. What do you mean by this descriptive research? So here, the researcher is going to describe the situation in an entirely systematic manner. Okay, so please do write down the key points over here. Okay, so you will be having the situational problems. So situational problems, okay, or any situational phenomenon. So this is going to provide you, this is a problem which is going to existing living condition. Okay, there is a problem which in our everyday day-to-day aspect, there is a problem, and we are going to bring in the solution for this particular problem of day-to-day scenarios. Is it clear? Or existing living conditions or existing lives over here. Okay, now it basically includes what? It basically includes the fact finding or inquiring in a very in detailed manner on the particular ideology. Okay, and here you are going to research which you, okay, the major thing in a descriptive research is you will be having no control on variables. I already said while we are discussing on a characteristics, you must keep a controlled factors. When it comes to this descriptive research, you can't have much control on all the variables which is going to exist over here. Okay, we can just report which is going to be happening. Okay, we can just understand what is what is happening in the actual sense over here. Based on that, we are going to give the research over here. The purpose of descriptive research is what? Just to collect the information without any kind of interpretation of the scenarios over here. I said, right, it is a situational problem, which is an existing living condition, where you are going to just report it. You are going to just report it and keep. Obviously, there is a solution which is found for it later. Okay. In description, what you are going to do, whatever is happening, you will record it. That's it. Is it clear? You will describe, you will clearly understand. Not only that, you are not going to understand what is the reason for this problem. You will describe, yes, you will also describe the reason for the problem and try to figure out what is a major cause for it. Is it clear? That is what you are going to come across with it. Now, under this, there are different types. Under the descriptive research, we have different types. So what are the types under descriptive research? The first and foremost type under descriptive research is the ex post facto research. Okay, ex post facto research. So ex post facto research is nothing but you are going to make complete scientific inquiry, and also you are going to make analytical investigation on the complete dependent and independent variables over here. Okay, so here it is a kind of quasi experimental nature. Why? Because the researcher not randomly assigned. This is entirely based on the particular character you are going to assign the things over here. Okay, so, and one more thing, while you are reading anything over here, when it comes to a research aspect of this, so any research you are going to check on with, you always try to bring in them with the example. Okay, so when you learn them with the example, you are going to get the complete idea on this topics. Is it clear? Now let us have a look into any one particular example of this ex post facto research. For example, when it comes to, one second. Yeah. So understand. So we are going ahead with ex post facto research, right? So under this, while you are making with the ex post facto research, you understood you will be not having any kind of much control on any of the variables over here. And over here, you are going to just have a little experiment. You are going to just check. For example, when it comes to any underweight people, okay, or a malnutrition people, how the malnutrition people malnutrition is going to affect on the individual brain. For example, how malnutrition is affected on brain structure, or I can rather than a brain, I can just take it as a thinking. Okay, thinking ability. So this is what I can take as, look over here, under ex post facto, what I said, it is a quasi experimental. Okay, and as an individual, you will be entirely looking in on the dependent and independent variables over here. What is a dependent and independent variable? So look here, this is a malnutrition and this is a thinking capacity. Okay, for example, when I'm not given a proper food and when I'm not in a proper sleep or whatever, okay, this entirely affects my thinking ability, right? So this is what I am going to check. This is what I am going to check in detailly on. I think you people are getting a point clear, right? So this is how you will be coming across with the research. That's what I said, right? Not only this one, even when, one second guys, you had a class today. Nanak bandila timetable? Nanak bandila. Wait a moment, guys. Oh. Okay, guys, I have another class for right now. Okay, I'll wind up the class for class right now. We'll be stopping at this particular topic. or I'll start with the descriptive research only. Survey research, correlation studies, and causal studies are not the types of descriptive
You
research.
also had given an assignment. India State of Forest report.
Sorry?
India State of Forest.
Just a moment, there was a question over here. Yes, Pallavi.
Hello, ma'am.
Yes, Pallavi.
How many classes, ma'am?
Sorry?
How many classes does it take to complete this?
Complete? Which part you are asking with regard to?
I mean, this complete, ma'am.
Complete things.
Yeah.
In around in 10 to 12 classes we'll complete. Max to max 15 classes.
Oh my God. Okay, ma'am.
I think your examination dates are not announced still, right?
Ma'am, 26th, ma'am.
Sorry?
This
KSET,
month,
right?
yeah.
KSET is fixed, 26th.
Yeah.
By the time I'll clear this for you, no worries. So we'll be going ahead with that basic parts of logical reasoning, data interpretation, and aptitude. And even this will be cleared. I think only 2 or 3 chapters is left for you in this part, right?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, it will be completed. No worries on this.
Okay.
Thank you so much, guys.